Tuesday, February 11th. I would open up the Hadley Conservation Commission meeting. First on the agenda is request for determination of applicability, 454 Russell Street. Who is here to present for that?
Hi there, Christian Branley. Can you hear me?
Yes, you can.
Great.
Okay.
So I work at Chestnut Realty Management, who owns Hadley Campus Plaza, otherwise known as Hadley Campus Plaza LLC. And what we're looking to get approval on is we'd like to cut four trees down at the front right side of the shopping center. Um, the four trees are outside of the BVW, but inside of the 35-foot no disturb zone. Uh, the reasons for wanting to remove these four particular trees are that they continue to perpetually overgrow and branches fall on cars and on our pavement, and it is becoming a bit of a nuisance from a maintenance standpoint and from a liability standpoint for customer safety. And we are our understanding is that it's the commission's responsibility to protect the buffer zone, and we understand and appreciate that. And as a replacement or as a um, attempt to mitigate any issues with the BVW, we would be willing to uh, compensate the loss of those trees with plantings of the commission's uh, whatever the whatever the commission might uh, want as a replacement for those particular trees to retain the integrity of the buffer zone and ensure the long-term health of the BVW. But that's kind of the uh, the story here. So at the bottom of our application, you'll see green markings. Perhaps it would be best for me to share my screen to decipher which ones we're talking about. Would that be helpful?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the bottom of our RDA submittal. North on plan here is the shopping center. Here is the BVW. This is the gas station, which we do not own. And the triangles are the BVW. The 35-foot no disturb is the dark purple, and the 100-foot buffer zone is the light pink. And you'll see where these trees are all on the edge of the BVW, but inside of the 35-foot no disturb zone. And more specifically, the trees in green here are the ones that we were trying to remove and would be willing to replace with shrubs or whatever a sufficient replacement planting is that the commission deems. But as you can kind of see, this is like a 2021 photo from Google. But you can kind of see the overhang that we're talking about, and particularly in the spring, summer, and fall months, there's a fair amount of branches falling and a fair amount of phone calls and issues had with respect to these four trees. And this tree in red is not part of it. That is in the BVW wetlands, so that would not be part of it. And then in addition to these four removal trees, we're also asking for approval to prune the adjacent trees that we're not gonna remove. But as you can see in these photos to the right, there's still a fair amount of overhang uh, that affect our drive aisle and customers.
So the two trees in green, what variety are those trees?
They are red
Red
oak.
oaks. Okay, pretty hardy trees. So you're showing two on this screen. You're not showing the other two, or
Sorry. Uh,
one top and okay.
yeah, they're on top of each other. Yep.
So is there any? Have you had an arborist look at the trees? Is there any dead growth in the trees, or is just a case where you want to take them down because they're irritating you?
We have not had an arborist. Kayla met with us on site, asked the same question. The answer was no. We have not had an arborist out there. It's been suggested that the trees look unhealthy. I don't know if that's true or not, but the real story here is that we just want to remove them because they're overgrowing so significantly onto our drive aisle here that it's just unbearable to a certain degree.
Being in the 35-foot zone, and they're not showing us there any sign of disease or the trees are dying. I'm not in favor of tree removal. I'd be in favor of some pruning of the trees. It's directed by a certified arborist, but to remove those four trees, you're not going to get my vote.
They don't seem like they're very big trees that have big branches. They seem like small trees.
And they're oaks. Oaks are pretty strong trees. They just don't break easy unless they're diseased or dying.
It just seems like the trees in the back are the worst ones, and not these.
Well,
If they're hanging over the parking lot.
it's kind of hard to judge the condition of the trees right now, anyways, because there's no vegetation on them. So, how does the rest of the board members feel about this?
Really that close to the road, I wouldn't be surprised if there's salt damage there too.
Hmm.
That's the other thing.
Nobody did a survey view there.
I did a site visit
Did you?
there. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't really, there's no vegetation.
Hmm.
So it's hard to tell.
I want to see a report from an arborist. I'm not going to vote for tree removal.
Yeah, it looks like those are the worst ones. I don't know. Did we do a survey view there or something?
Yeah.
So what's been going on? A lot of these branches have been falling on the cars. I mean, do you have
Right.
that all documented?
Correct, from customers, and then from our property management group, Key Point has been, trying to keep an eye on it, but there's a significant amount of overhang there that is hard to keep up with.
I could see more trimming of the trees, but not taking them out.
If you trim that back, I mean, that wouldn't curtail your issues here.
We think that that will just be a temporary solution, and within weeks or months, we'd have the same issue over and over again.
Trees don't grow up.
No,
Is there a substitute if you guys were to allow this, would there be a substitute planting that would be tolerable to the commission?
right now, there's nothing that would be tolerable for me. Well, the other board members feel because I'm one vote. You gotta get a majority here on the board.
Hmm. I just can't see it, to be honest with you. I think trimming them back is a better idea.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of where I am too.
I'd want to have an arborist look at them and give us a report on trimming. There's no reason to take the trees out just because you don't like them.
Are they leaning, listing anywhere? I mean, are they falling over? Or are they? Looks like they're pretty straight.
Yeah, this is from 2021. In my opinion, they don't look good. I don't know, Kayla, you were on site. I don't know if you want to.
I have a more recent, I have a picture from the site visit.
Okay.
I mean,
The other option is just continue this till spring so we can see some growth on the trees to get a better idea.
okay. Let me screen share.
Let me.
All right, so this is two of them.
Yep.
Those branches can be trimmed back. No reason to take them out.
And then the other two. Let's see. These are the other two, the ones with the X. Yeah, they're pretty straight,
Hmm.
not really leaning.
Seems like the tree without the X has got bigger branches leaning over.
Yeah,
Well, I think
That
this one
one,
is gonna
right
be.
there.
that right there, yeah.
Are you proposing trimming this tree?
That one I believe was do not touch because we thought it was in a BBW, so we thought it was not going to be socialized well, and therefore we're even attempting to try.
I don't know, I'd rather see all of them pruned back, I mean, rather than taking them down.
Yeah, they're healthy. They're oaks.
So I guess there's two things we could do. We can either issue the determination that approves just trimming. Or we could wait, put it on hold, and Christian, you can get an arborist. If the arborist says that they're unhealthy or whatever, then we could reconsider, bring this to another hearing.
Does
Does that,
does us saying let's do the first one and then do the second one later work?
yes, but then you would have to come back with another RDA.
But for the second one, we wouldn't have to come back for a second RDA. We just have to come back with an arborist report.
I think we need to get an arborist look at these trees when they're healthy, when they're growing. I would do this spring.
Okay, but the problem still is the problem of liability and safety. So we do want to remove the branches sooner rather than later. This is not an aesthetic thing. This is not an aesthetic thing. This is a
You have any
liability.
evidence of these liabilities? Previous claims, you've shown us nothing but your word.
You're suggesting it's not a liability thing?
Show us some reports. I don't see it.
Okay.
You're bringing this in at a really bad time of the year when the trees aren't growing, so we can't actually see the condition of the trees.
Okay. Then Kayla, I'd prefer to just do the first one then, if that's palatable for the commission today, because that's the real issue of safety here. So to the extent that the board commission would approve the trimming, we'd take that and we can do the RDA again this spring/summer. If that's sufficient for the board, for the commission.
We don't know what the extent of the trimming is gonna be. They could just go in there and wholesale cut the whole side of the tree all the way up. All four of them.
Well, okay, so trimming would be the trimming of the 4 trees, the branches that are overhanging the parking lot.
Correct.
That's what I understand.
Correct.
I don't want them cutting all the branches overhanging the parking lot. I want an arborist report. Otherwise, you're gonna give them carte blanche. You're gonna go right up the whole side, of all 4 trees. There's no reason to.
That's not the intent.
I don't have a problem, I don't have a problem with them trimming the trees to the best of their ability to make sure that their liability or their view of their liability has been taken care of.
I agree, but I wanna make sure how much you're gonna trim the trees. Otherwise, you're just gonna go in there and cut the whole side of the tree off.
Are you planning on hiring an arborist or anything like that to get out there and take a look at this?
For day two, we would, based on this conversation now.
Yeah, yeah.
In terms of talking with respect to the removal, we're obviously not going to touch it. We're not going to, it's clear now that the removal will not be considered without an arborist, so we will do that. But in the meantime, we're hopeful of getting the approval for trimming the front or the side facing the,
North side,
yeah.
yeah.
I would move we'll try to make a motion to move this hearing to next month till we hear from an arborist with a report. That's my thoughts.
You have a problem with that, sir?
I would
We're not
prefer,
gonna close the hearing. We would continue it to the following month until we see an arborist report for the trees. Of what your trimming plan is. I'm not gonna give you a wholesale carte blanche to go trim those trees.
to answer your question, I would prefer to get approval to trim the trees and then come back with an arborist report with respect to removing those trees. That would be my preference if all the way and then further defining that trim of the northern side of the trees off of the drive aisle only.
Christian, what would your timeline be for that trimming ideally?
We'd release the landscape crew in the next 30 to 60 days, I imagine, based on weather, right? I think it's all based on weather. Yeah. And
Okay.
their ability to do so, yeah.
30 days would take us to at least the next meeting.
Okay,
Take a report by then. I want to make a proposal. I want to look for a motion to continue this hearing till March 11th. Subject to getting a report from an arborist on the condition of the trees and a tree cutting trimming plan.
Seems fair enough.
You gonna make the motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Second by Brandon. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All four unanimous. So it's gonna be continued to next month until you provide us with more details from an arborist about the condition of the trees and what your tree trimming plan is gonna be. Okay?
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yep. Next on the agenda is request for determination of applicability 123 Hockenham Road.
That's me.
Okay, you're on.
All right. Well, so I walked it with you two. I sent you the documents, mowing a bunch of invasives and planting some stuff, and then in that front half, the front third, based on that drawing, where around the big oak, I was gonna turn that into lawn.
Do you have a plan showing your?
I sent it to her, yeah.
yeah, hold on.
Yeah.
I'll share my screen.
Okay, thank you.
So I don't have a color printer, and so I find it's often easier to just look at the digital
Just
version.
want to see where the boundaries
I
are.
completely understand.
We don't want you cutting all the way to the riverbank,
Oh, no, definitely not. No.
because we need.
Well, in
something-
fact, so there's I don't know if the plan probably doesn't show, well, I don't remember if this thing that I sent you has topo, but I sort of did some arrows and stuff.
Mhm.
There's a bank that goes down to the river, and their property does this. It actually comes up to a little bit of a rise,
Mhm.
and I'm stopping all work at that rise, and I'm not cutting anything on the low bank.
So that straw wall will be right at the.
And that straw wall would
Would
be
be
right
the
right on top of that ridge.
Okay,
I mean, it's a ridge already.
Yeah.
So I'm
Nothing-
I'm not really doing any
you're not gonna disturb,
excavation
yeah,
I'm
nothing's
gonna
gonna
do
be
a little-
disturbed, nothing's gonna be disturbed
on the
between,
roadside.
between the straw and the river.
Correct. Nothing will be disturbed between those straw and the river.
Okay,
And even, so where the fruit trees are gonna be planted and sort of, because I didn't really divide it, but kind of from the back half of the red box to the straw wattle, I'm just mulching it with a mulcher. And then gonna maybe just scrape it basically, throw a bunch of straw down and plant the fruit trees right in that mulching.
Mhm.
And then the front half of that, I am gonna spread topsoil over the mulchings and plant grass seed and straw. So that front half is gonna be lawn. The back half is gonna be, they wanna plant, apple, pear and raspberries basically. And then there's gonna be a planting of hedge along the road, because right now that whole area is all bittersweet, sumac, all that
I was gonna
stuff.
say, this whole section right.
That whole section is all,
To the right of the fruit trees is all invasive stuff,
it's the whole area.
okay.
Yeah.
All invasives, that's gonna be your saving grace, because you're working within the 100-foot.
Oh, I'm completely, yeah, absolutely I
Yeah,
am.
So we're in favor of removing invasive.
But it's also why I'm not planning to do any digging. If I do anything, I'm gonna just put a thin layer of topsoil in that front area
mhm.
to mulch and straw over, but I'm not gonna disturb the existing soil.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'll rake off some of the wood chip, basically whatever I mulch, I'll rake into the fruit tree
And
area.
from your straw wattle to the river, that's over 35 feet, correct?
I believe it's at least 50,
So
yeah.
you're 35-foot buffer.
Yeah,
You could do you got the 35-foot buffer.
yeah, the green line is the 200-foot line. That's the. So, yeah, it's probably about 50 feet, yeah, I could go and, you know, I did not measure that, but I'm pretty sure that's a good 50 feet. It is currently, that hillside is currently mowed by somebody with a brush hog regularly.
Okay.
Not, I don't know, like somebody's been mowing it forever, apparently.
Okay.
But I'm not doing anything down on that slope. So, yeah.
There's 3. See a problem.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a side yard for this. And part of the other reason they want to do this is because all this overgrowth is taking down the barn. And they want to fix the old barn. And so a lot of it is also just trying to open that whole area up on that side of the barn. So that we can take an assessment of its structure
Yeah.
without climbing through brambles and stuff like that.
Where is the barn?
Okay, so-
That's, you can see where it says mow invasive brush and vine, there's like an outline of building.
Yeah.
So that's the barn. And so where the fruit trees are, right, they're right on that boundary. And there's like a weird roof that's sticking off the end of the barn that's collapsing. That I told them they should just take it down. They're like, no, we like it. I'm like, okay, well, we'll have to get at it then.
Okay.
So, and that is another future potential project that I might be submitting another separate, RDA for working on that, because I believe if I'm doing construction work on that, I also need to do an RDA, right? For that, but that still needs to be assessed, so. No, currently.
So we have this.
Oh, in 6.
It's 6, I was in 6 here. Oh, yeah, okay. So I think all the board members are in agreement with this project.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm gonna look for a motion to support a -3 determination, the work described, -2 determination. The work described in the request is within an area subject to jurisdiction underneath the act, but will not remove, fill, dredge, or alter that area. Therefore, said work does not require the filing of a notice of intent. And also a -6, which would be our Hadley bylaw. The area of work described as in the request is not subject to additional review and approval with the Hadley 35-foot bylaw. Do I have a motion to support this?
So I'll make a motion
Brandon
to
makes a
accept the
motion. Second
206
by
determination. Second.
Steve. Any further discussion?
Awesome.
All those in favor? Aye.
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 All 4 unanimous. Okay.
Thank you.
So I will send the original copy over to you.
Great.
Do I
And
have your address on the application?
it should have my address on
Okay.
there. And you guys you're gonna wanna do an inspection of the straw wattle before I begin.
That would be,
Yeah, I mean, it'll be
we'll come on.
2 months from now that I'll do this, but I figured
Yeah,
get the paperwork done.
Sounds good.
I will let you know.
Great, thank
perfect,
you.
thank you.
Next on the agenda, number 3 is public comment.
Like everybody's here for an agenda item.
No other, okay. Number 4, other business. 300 Venture Way Stormwater System Updates. Who's here for that?
I am,
Okay.
my name's Mark Reed, Heritage Land Surveying and Engineering in Southampton. We're working to do maintenance finally after many, many years of no maintenance on 2 stormwater basins that are located on the east sides of the existing building at 300 Venture Way. I provided a number of plans and pictures that, I don't know if you wanna come up on the screen, Kayla. But what we have found is that basically from the previous owners, they never maintained either of those stormwater basins that are out there. And the vegetation, was so tall and thick that you couldn't even see 2 feet in front of you. There was a number of trees that had grown, rampant in there. And both of the stormwater outlet structures failed and causing the berm, the existing berm, to erode on either side of them towards the wetlands to the east. 116 is to the further to the east along this section. So that this is a draft copy of a plan that I sent showing the improvements being proposed to construct, replace the failed outlet structure, which is located on the right-hand side of the basin, right in there. That's the existing failed structures, and I had some pictures that I sent Kayla of the structure that itself that it's failed, that needs to be replaced, and improvements to the berm, because the berm in certain areas has failed. The top of the berm needs to be 5 feet wide and with a 3-to-1 slope on either side. And there's many areas that it's not meeting that criteria. Excuse me. So that this is the southerly basin, we're calling it. And then there's the second. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. In this plan to the right, Kayla, we found that end of it, we found that the berm completely disappeared from the from the left-hand side of the berm. You'll see 2 outlet pipes going into the basin. The left hand comes from the rear of the building, and the right hand one comes from the roof of the building. The left hand one, there is no berm left there. So basically all the storm water goes into a plunge pool that's shown on that plan, and then discharges directly out into the wetland that's to the east. So we're proposing to reestablish that berm so that all the storm water coming off the parking lot and the building gets treated through the stormwater basin and out to the outlet. Also, we're going to be replacing along the edge of the pavement, because there is no curving there, a 3-foot wide stone filter strip to further filter the stormwater before it enters into the basin for both of these areas. So the northerly basin is very similar to this, and it's on the second page. Yeah, it should be the next page down. Yeah, there you go. The smaller basin. Again, that control structure was completely plugged and caused erosion to either side of the piping and outlet. So this is a plan that we're working on to be able to submit to the commission formally to do the repairs.
So
There was no maintenance plan on this to begin with?
There was a maintenance plan.
No, we did it.
No one did it.
So basically you're doing a restoration to what was
That's correct.
You're not expanding any structures.
No, we're not.
So you just be storing what should have been there,
Should have been done
what was
from day
previously,
one.
what was previously permitted,
Correct.
no other changes.
No other changes, just restoring what should have been done over the past what, 20 years?
And these strange structures that you're talking about, those are like the structures with the weirs in them?
Yeah, it'll have it'll be similar to that. It'll have an orifice
Yeah.
type in it
Yeah,
and a grate top.
okay, all right, and,
so that-
and the other one is junk? I mean, it's gone?
Oh, yeah, well, yeah.
What happened to it?
He's, the pictures, it's still
I
have
mean, those
those.
things are concrete and,
Yeah, before, previously,
So what do we have to do for filing this? Too?
well,
I think what we could do is issue like a friendly enforcement order, so we have the official plans on record. Since it's technically work, I guess, within a wetland now that it's reverted to, it hasn't been maintained in however long. So I think the next steps would be, is this a preliminary plan?
yes, yeah.
Okay, so you get a final plan to us with whatever comments
Is
incorporated.
this gonna be another notice of intent?
No, because it was already permitted as a notice of intent, but it wasn't maintained according to the order of conditions.
So
So we
we-
issued like a friendly enforcement order that requires the restoration.
Okay,
Let's see,
because you've obviously been in contact with Mark Stoops about this.
yeah,
Okay.
oh, there's so many photos. Do you remember what the date was?
I don't know if we really, I mean, we're all in agreement that
Sounds
it
pretty
needs to be
Yeah,
restored,
yeah,
so
I don't have,
I wouldn't go crazy for it.
I got some pictures I can pass.
This is not a hearing anyways, this is just a information.
Yeah, we just wanted to keep you
I
updated.
think we're all in agreement with
yeah.
going forward with your plans.
Yeah,
Do it as-
That would be great,
We'll need to do an enforcement order to.
right,
Okay.
right. The building is being sold so that the new owner wants to be in compliance. And,
Has there been any changes in hydrology that these need to be changed to be bigger for some reason? or-
no, the building,
Those are gonna work.
parking lots, same size as it
Everything's
was
gonna work
from day
fine.
one. Right, yeah, no changes whatsoever in that aspect of it.
Okay.
So, yeah, we had talked about doing a friendly enforcement order with Caleb. He coming before the commission with final plans so that it can be done. The basins have been brush hogged out and cleaned and the trees removed. So that now you can see.
See what you got. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because that's what we had to do first off, because we couldn't even see even with no
You have
vegetation. on it.
previous plans showing the grades at depths and so you can restore to that
Correct,
previous conditions.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we have all those that luckily you had on file here
Okay,
at the town.
good, good. Okay,
Cool.
Great.
Ready?
I have to draft the enforcement order and you'll come back with the findings.
Yes, please.
Great.
That would be great.
okay. Next on the
Thank
agenda
you. Thank you.
is
Thank you very
Beaver.
much.
Thank you.
Yep.
Beaver dam removal. Who wants to speak?
that broker was.
I'm sorry.
I don't care either way.
Okay, Procon conservation restriction, I was.
You're getting ahead of yourself.
So we have a conservation restriction. It's been reviewed.
Well, I sent it in the email, the draft. Would you like to speak about it a little more?
Yeah, I apologize for missing the last meeting. Yeah, so at this point, it's a draft. I've not yet sent it to Boston for their review. I did finally get a definitive answer from Kestrel Land Trust. And they, at this point in time, it's not something that they want to take on. They do want to talk with the Conservation Commission in the town about future efforts in the meadows. In terms of land protection. But I think also the small size of this, they have a lot on their plate at the moment. I don't think they have any substantive objection to the restriction or anything like that.
So who will actually hold the conservation restriction?
The Conservation Commission will hold the restriction.
Okay,
So right now, what we need to do is, I sent the draft to you all. We have to vote that we accept the preliminary draft of the conservation restriction, then it gets sent to Boston, then it gets officially approved by the Conservation Commission and the Select Board. So this is just us saying that looks good for now. there was a few comments I had. I just wanted to ask, so this was drafted with the state CR template?
Correct.
Okay, and then I think it refers to the 2018 Hadley Open Space and Recreation Plan, which I don't think that exists. I think the last time it was updated was like 2014 or something, and I don't think it was officially updated. So maybe you're referring to the master plan, which I think was around that time, 2017. So you might just want to check that. And then it refers to a survey of the property, which I don't think I have.
It doesn't exist.
There's no survey.
No, I asked Ed about how people deal with knowing where the edges of their fields are down there, and he said it's all just trust and the boundaries are physically pretty obvious. I think I found like one stake or something at one of the corners, but there was no formal survey, and the cost of doing that would be more than the land is probably worth at this point. Because as far as I know, I couldn't find any deed descriptions for the adjacent properties that listed, permanent markers that are bounds that are in the ground. So you'd have to, ground truth it, basically start from scratch.
Did you look at the deck?
I don't think, I mean, it's all, I think they probably were generated from aerial photographs that show where the different cultivation.
But there is a deed.
Was that?
There's a deed.
There is a deed.
Yeah,
Because of the description of the property.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just so we have something to hang our hat on.
Yep.
This is,
Here. And I have the photos that you sent me, which I can screen share. See. That's the gene. This is the location. So it's the bike path and South Branch Road, and it's this green parcel.
The shaded area is priority habitat.
Right.
Yep.
Here's the photos.
Was this a piece that was donated to us a while back?
This is the no. No, this is it's a conservation restriction.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's too small for an APR.
Yeah.
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 All right.
So did everybody get a chance to read through
Yeah.
the draft?
So what's being done with the land property currently? Is it being farmed?
It's being rented out to Mountain View, over in East Hampton.
Mountain View,
Mountain View Farm, it's the one on East Street,
okay.
big CSA.
Okay.
And at the time that I was noticing it was overgrown, and Ed said that
So,
it was big fallow when I was out there taking pictures.
so what do we need, a motion to approve the preliminary conservation?
Yes, I guess to support it
restriction?
being sent to the, what is it, EEA or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would look for a motion to support the draft conservation restriction.
I'll make that motion.
Brandon makes a motion, second by Steve. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Wait, just to clarify, you're gonna check into the open space and recreation plan.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't know whether I ended up finding a draft or that was in the Mass GIS or something.
Yeah, yeah. So who made the motion?
I made it.
Brandon made it, second by Steve. Those subject to those little revisions, we've all supported the concept. Sending it to Boston.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay,
I really appreciate it. That's the salt of the earth, and
very good.
pleasure trying to. Get this
Thank
moving.
you.
thank you.
Thanks so much.
Next on the agenda, beaver dam removal.
So we were here a month ago and explained kind of some of the issues we were having. And I think you guys kind of put it to this meeting, so.
Yep.
Well, I wasn't here for that, but you folks were, so.
Yep.
I'll have to,
So that's basically what happened. We wanted to touch base with Board of Health to make sure they would approve the permit for the agricultural exemption, which I talked with Ben last week. That's no problem. And the only thing that we would have to discuss tonight is if we want to do the emergency permit right through us, giving them X amount of days on top of this 10-day permit that would come from the Board of Health. So I think it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. I guess my question is if it's under the agricultural exemption, do we actually need the emergency permit?
Yeah, that's up to you. I mean, the only thing that the permit does say is that. Okay, so the only asterisk is be section B of the permit, the breaching of dams, dikes, bogs, and berms. If the permit chooses option B or C, which is what we're gonna be doing, he or she must appear before the local conservation commission to obtain an emergency certification regarding specifications. That's mainly the more I see that is when you're installing a flow control device, which is not gonna be there. That's if you were gonna bury a pipe with, hardener setup. This is basically just dam removal, so. Whatever your thoughts are.
I think there's no harm in just doing the emergency cert, even if we don't have to, just to have something on paper.
Yeah.
Um,
And then with that already being in plan, if we do have to go back in the future, Ben will obviously know about it, because there's been previous work done on the site, so.
so we just need a motion for emergency certification?
yes, and I think, well, let's do a site visit too. Let's schedule a site visit, because to issue the emergency certification, you need to do a site visit.
Okay.
So
there's 2 dams there.
Yeah,
there's 2 dams.
so if you may want a little bit further,
When's a good time to do this? I mean, we got
you can
back,
walk out there, well, not right now, but it's frozen now, so you can get out there.
It would be the best time now.
Yeah,
There's so much back up there once the rain starts and things
we
thaw.
got more shit coming Thursday, so we probably should try to do a site visit tomorrow.
Yeah,
yeah,
That worked for,
I mean, it's simple enough to see right from the road too, so.
yeah, you won't have to look
I was
hard.
gonna say, it's about 100 feet upstream there, isn't it? From
Yeah,
down
you
there?
can actually see them. You can see one from North Hadley Road, the other one from
North Maple.
Roseville. They're right
Yeah,
there.
okay, so what time works tomorrow for board members? We'll wanna know.
I can be there anytime after 2. If you wanna do it earlier, let me know.
Well, we can only have
I can-
two board
I can
members.
be there in the morning,
Morning.
early in the morning.
We can't have quorum though, so Gary and Brandon, you want?
That's fine. I can be there whenever you wanna go.
Okay, whatever works for you. Just,
We'll figure it out. I'll call you in the morning. Skate away from work.
well, they're gonna need time, so.
Let's do.
I will
three.
be able to be there.
I know exactly where everything is for the layout as
Hopefully,
far
I'm
as what they
gonna
wanna
be
do,
headed
unless you need to have one of them there.
Do you need them there? You know everything? Okay, so we'll handle it.
Yeah, no, we should be good.
So you'll
Okay.
call me and Gary.
Yep.
And just when it comes to actually taking them out, where is the point where is somebody gonna come and say, well, you're taking too much out?
It's pretty, the one,
Whatever you gotta do to restore the flow, I think.
right, the one in the river is pretty straightforward, because that's all visible
Right,
branches and
right,
whatnot.
right.
The main dam that's backing up the Dingle side, I mean, you'll be able to see where that used to be 6, 7 feet deep is only 2 feet deep now, so I mean, that sediment has to be removed with it in order for it to be effective, so.
Yeah, that all came from that 2013.
Yeah.
Hurricane Irene.
I know it wasn't Irene, but it was
It was one of the-
huge rainstorm. I think it was in October.
Yeah,
And we've never seen water come over like that. And it created that berm that blocked off that.
and now the problem is the other road access on the opposite side of North Hadley Road, there's 9 acres on that side that you can't even drive down to anymore, so it's underwater, just the way it's backed up, so.
Years ago, there was a horse pasture
Yep,
on the other side of that where the beaver, hut was. But I mean, that's just,
yeah,
Okay,
that's
no,
basically.
you can go in the morning. We can head over there whenever.
free all afternoon.
Okay, cool.
Good time to do it. Okay,
Yeah, once we get that in motion, then if we're good with it, then I'll be in touch with Ben on the permit and we'll figure out where we gotta go from there.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
What do you do with Beaver Dam? What do you do with all this? What do you do with
All that stuff, you have to put it back on the soil,
Really?
on the land, yeah, you can't put it back in the water.
Not gonna work, just.
It's not gonna.
I would spread it out, I mean,
It's not
there's really
gonna hurt
nothing
the
down there, it's
back
overgrown pasture land there.
Yeah, if you back drag it on the backside, it's only gonna help to where I could get in there and mow it again.
Yeah,
Problem is, there's water sitting there so often now.
So you know what you gotta do.
Mm.
yeah,
All we need.
cool.
Okay, thank you, John.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
Next is the solar landfill steering committee updates. Hi there.
I'm here for that, but Michael Doctor is online.
Okay,
He has been working on this project from his get-go, and I'd like him to start.
okay. You're on, doctor.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, thank you. I'll give you a little bit of background on the project. It was initially, the Hadley Climate Committee worked on the initial proposal, to determine that a large solar facility sited on the landfill, if it were ever built, would be a profitable venture for the town, based on the various state incentives and federal incentives that exist. So the Hadley Select Board voted, and the town meeting also voted to allocate $12,000 to sort of initiate this process, to hire a company known as Solar Design Associates to apply for a permit with Eversource to determine if this were built, to determine what the grid capacity what the grid would actually need to do to accommodate this project. So that's basically where the project stands right now. The company that's been hired to make an application to Eversource is ready to do that. The town administrator, acting police chief Mason, signed the contract about a week to 10 days ago. But what's needed from the Conservation Commission right now is some guidance. We're not asking for a formal determination at all. We're just asking for some informal guidance so that we can instruct Solar Design Associates how to configure their proposal. And I think Kayla has spoken to this to us, and so if I'm stepping out of line or saying it wrong, please let me know, Kayla. But my understanding is that because the land that we're talking about, which is the landfill, is a already developed and disturbed site, there's potentially a reduction in the amount of setback that would be required by the River Protection Act. And that's kind of what we were hoping to get from you so we can convey this information to the person drawing up the proposal. What we're trying to get from you is an indication of how close we would be able to get to the river with this project, because obviously the more land that the town could develop for solar, the more profitable and feasible this project becomes.
So I sent Kayla some plans that I got from when the landfill was capped. It showed you some boundaries. If that's useful for you, you could put them on the screen.
Yeah, I also found the original permitted plan from the Conservation Commission, which is, honestly, I think the plans that you sent me are more updated. So this was the
1998.
Yes. Zoom in a little, but basically here's the river, and then this is the site. Area within limit of cap, hydroseeded. So my understanding is that the area of the capped landfill is degraded area, which means that under the Wetlands Protection Act, redevelopment standards apply. And so in this situation, the amount of disturbance that you can create with the new project is equal to the amount of degraded area, or 10% of the riverfront area. I think that's the allowance of how much work you can do on the site. And then in terms of the setbacks from the river, under the redevelopment standards, you can build as close to the resource area as the degraded area is, or 100 feet. Depending on which is closer, I believe.
Well, there's a 100-foot line on that drawing.
Oh, right, so
the
this is
edge
the
of
100 foot
degraded.
buffer zone,
And which is-
so they're almost equal.
Yeah, right at the toe of the degraded area.
Yeah.
So I would just go with the 100-foot
So,
buffer zone.
so our application to Eversource could use that 100-foot setback, and then anything else
Right.
would be available for the,
Yeah,
that would be great.
yeah, I think we're all in agreement.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. If it works,
Because it said 100 feet or within, so it's right there.
they're both the
They're
same.
neck and neck, so yeah,
Neck and neck.
might as well do the 100 feet, and
We
that way
just use the
everyone's safe.
100-foot zone and
Right.
It's a lot safer just to go off that.
call it a day.
If this works, it's gonna be a source of income for the town, which we sorely need, so. that would
Is this something the town would wind up owning, or are they gonna get a?
They would like to own it. You make more money if you own it.
Exactly, that's what I was getting at.
Absolutely.
I would
Of
not,
course, we have to put it out to, a vote to
Alright.
make sure people want to fund it. But once the numbers are in, I think it will be fairly obvious that this is a good thing.
okay. We're supporting.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
all so
Michael.
much. And thank you, Kayla, for getting us on the agenda. Appreciate it.
Of course.
Next on the agenda, I'm sorry, Michael? I didn't mean to cut him off. I'm just moving through.
Yeah,
Next is the 2024 annual report.
so I sent everybody a draft of the annual report for 2024 for the Conservation Commission. That will be compiled into the town 2024 annual report. I basically used the same format as last year and just changed and updated it with, what we did this year.
I've looked at it, I'm fine with it.
Cool.
I would look for a motion to approve the annual report as prepared by Kayla.
I'll make that motion.
Brandon makes a motion, second by
Second.
Ray.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay. Project updates. Do we have any?
There's updates. I don't think we have, let's see. There are a few APRs coming up. MDR is gonna be at our next meeting and they're gonna present on those. Just a heads up, there's 4, I believe. And that's the only project update I have right now.
Okay, office updates, I guess for the new office.
Yes, I have a new office. Come say hi. And then. Oh, did we get to bills yet?
Yeah, bills is next.
Bills, I'm hoping to attend the MACC annual conference on March 1st, which has a fee of $150 to be paid from our tuition budget, which I don't think we've really touched yet.
So I'll make a motion that we support you going to that conference. I think 100.
And anybody else is welcome to join.
Brandon,
You want some gas?
Day is it March 1st?
Gas money, food money?
I'll
Beer.
take gas money.
Stay
at
at
Foxwoods,
Foxwoods,
somewhere out there, do
I
something.
mean.
we should pay off.
You know, like gas to get there and stuff, why not?
Yeah,
I mean, I have no problem getting it.
Yeah, so here.
We don't tap that,
great.
Use it.
you know what I mean?
Use it.
Oh,
We get the funds.
Absolutely.
Okay,
All right, so who made the motion?
I'm looking for a motion.
You're looking for.
Stevie's.
Steve made the motion with gas money. I'll look for a second.
I'll second it.
Yeah,
We should, okay.
Yeah.
Ray?
absolutely. Yeah.
Any further discussion? All's in favor?
I,
Aye.
Okay, any other bills?
Nope,
Okay, minutes.
I don't have the minutes from last meeting.
Okay,
Come on, I was looking forward.
and then, yeah, and we'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Ray makes a motion to adjourn,
I'll second.
second by Brandon. All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Good.